Hello Trekkies and welcome back with another video of TREKKERPRISE. Well, today we're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery episode 13 and 14. I know, I'm going to do the two episodes together, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 1 and Part 2. So, this is the final episode of Star Trek Discovery, and then at least Season 2. And then, obviously, from the first episode and from the second episode, we got a lot to take in. There's a couple of things to talk about here and there, more in the second episode than in the first. But we're going to go through the first episode and then the second episode, and then we're going to talk about a couple of things that regards into the Star Trek Discovery's future. We're going to talk about the Enterprise and everything, so buckle up. So after all this episode, Discovery getting to the conclusion that hey, we have to stop control. The angel itself is Burnham, and then now we get to know that hey, she is the one who creating the signals, and then everything has a pattern in it. So it's really interesting to actually get to this point when we finally realizing the situation that hey, Burnham is basically continuing what her mother started in a sense, and the whole time wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey things are coming together. So let's start with part one. Part one was a kind of low paced. I find it a bit less intriguing, less it was more of a setup for the part 2 actually. Part 1 was kind of interesting in the sense that they got a sixth signal and they ended up in Zahia. Now if you've seen the short Trek episode Runaway, you know that Zahia and Poe and Tilly, that's like a Tilly focused episode with the Queen of Zahia. Poe comes aboard because she was just afraid to get coronated for a queen for her sister for the planet, and then basically they reunite with each other. Obviously Tilly got really excited like hey, Zahia, and then like oh, we're back in Zahia. No one seems to be bothering too much to us Tilly like hey, how do you know this creature, how do you know this planet, how do you know about Zahia? But everyone was raising their eyebrows like hey, why do you know too much about this planet, we just landed here. And even later on when they're waiting for Poe to beam over, Tilly is going there with she's like talking a lot about how they met and how was everything, and I know that doesn't really matter how we met, but I know her and she's the queen and everything. So obviously while Discovery is waiting for the Enterprise to catch up with them and obviously Leland's fleet behind, we got to see quite a few goodbyes, quite a few emotional and quite a few really interesting conversation between everyone. We got a really sweet part from Colbert and Stamets that basically Stamets realized that hey, I'm going to move forward, I'm not going to get back to you anymore because you moved out, you passing on me, and I just really want my life to be free from you, so I'll just gonna support you in the way that I'm going to leave, and I'm not gonna see you anymore because it's just too painful. So seeing their relationship shifting in a sense as well, it was really interesting to seeing it in part 1, and obviously in part 2 we got a little bit of a reunion between the two. Paul got injured, and obviously Hugh being in a sick bay and never really been able to leave Discovery and Paul behind. He confesses to Paul in the bed that hey, I'm going to stay with you, we are family. That moment itself was quite emotional. Actually got quite emotional as well, watching their finally they coming back together. It's like things are more interesting in Star Trek Discovery than anything, but if there's something that really interesting in Star Trek Discovery, there's other personal relationships between the characters, and having this kind of on and off situation going between Hugh and Paul, seeing their relationship going tearing apart and then putting them back together, it's just really interesting and really good to see them coming back together. Okay, so in part 1, first off, they wanted to destroy Discovery, and it's interesting enough that they couldn't because of the ship. The ship itself, developed a sense of defense, and hey, the sphere data is protecting itself. So even they tried with the Enterprise, they tried to blow some torpedoes into it, but there's no effect. We're gonna talk about the Enterprise as well. Don't think I didn't notice that. Obviously, that's the time when they actually realized that hey, we should send a Discovery into the future, and we might be able to save the whole situation just having Discovery like 1,000 years up in the future. Which first I thought maybe we're gonna get into the situation with Calypso, although we still can get into the situation with Calypso because that's about 1,000 years forward in the future from the Discovery point of view. But obviously we're going to jump into 950 years in the future, so we still will see Discovery in a sense that how we've seen it in Calypso. Although now it makes more sense seeing the Discovery going into the future and then having Calypso not waiting there for 1,000 years. You know, it makes more sense in a sense. So yeah. Obviously, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the Enterprise itself. When the Enterprise arrives next to Discovery, next to Zahia, we got to see the Enterprise bridge now, and we got to see the interiors of the Enterprise. A lot of people talked about that, and then most of the time that I read on social media and any other websites that they talk about Star Trek Discovery, the first episode when we got to see the Enterprise, everyone is really overwhelmed by how the Enterprise was designed, and everyone is really accepting towards the Enterprise. Obviously, there's a couple of people who were like, hey, this is not like the original, this is not like the original, this is not like the original. Personally, I love it. It's a really nice upgrade to the classic set. Obviously, it's never gonna replace the classic set, and people who think it's gonna replace the classic set, no, it's not going to replace the classic set is still there. But for a 2018 perspective and point of view, having this beautiful set built up and this beautiful ship, it feels familiar, it feels fresh, it feels new, and it feels great to see, you know, all these little details that they put into it. I read a few interviews with the production team, and actually they went into Ticonderoga to this Star Trek studio set tour designed by James Cavalier and the Star Trek Phase 2 franchise. In most cases they only had just picture references, but it really helps a lot when you can go down in there and then, you know, check up the set and make some notes and photos, and from the angles that you will need to have it. So it's really interesting to find out all these details about the creation of the bridge. A lot of people seem to be a bit discouraged and a bit disappointed because of the extra corridor that they put behind the bridge console. So I personally don't really find a big fuss about it, because the ship looks just gorgeous and the interiors looks gorgeous. The lighting, the sound effects, the props, the elements that brought back everything from the original bridge was absolutely amazing. I really had a good time seeing that bridge and seeing Captain Pike and Number 1 and Spock in that bridge. Obviously, parts up end up with the fact that Section 31 fleet actually arrives around Discovery. They are surrounded with ships and they are ready to battle. Part 2 obviously picks up on that, and everyone just basically stunned and hey, what's gonna happen, until Leland calls by that, hey, I'm here for the spirit data, so please give it to me, otherwise I'm just gonna blow you apart. Well, actually I don't think he said please. Obviously that's not optional, so we got to see and we gotta go into a massive battle. I don't really want to go into details because I'm pretty sure other respective YouTube channels and Star Trek YouTube channels, they will go into the battle details, so I'll probably have to point you in some other directions. There was a really intense battle scene that I really enjoyed, although I did feel that, you know, all the surrounding ships and the Enterprise and Discovery itself, they've been just like sitting like ducks in a pond. They didn't really do much movement to actually try to avoid those little things, although it was a massive dance of ships and everything, so I think maybe that was the best to do. And obviously by almost at the end of the battle, when everyone basically crippled down Discovery and the Enterprise, the Klingons showed up with some Kelpian warriors, and then we've seen a bunch of D7s. So it's like it was really just you know, hey, we are getting closer to the original series timeline. So it was absolutely amazing to see all these ships coming in and helping Discovery and the Enterprise. While the battle was going on inside Discovery, they just you know, working tireless to finish the suit for Burnham, which was really interesting. That, you know, even Burnham got like annoyed, like quite a few people. I noticed that, hey, actually, you know what, just leave it. I will finish it. I will do this. I will do that. Everyone was just like, no, just listen to me, and this is how you do it. At one point, it felt like there's too many people working on that suit, but you know. At the end of the day, they just had to say that, hey, you drop that, and I will do this and that. Now, the one thing that I was kind of noticing, that everyone really, like, you know, it's like, hey, let's get it done, like, we have to move fast and we have to have fast. But when Michael and Spock ended up in the cargo bay, they were like, Michael, taking your time, like, hey, okay, this is it, I'm going to fulfill my mother's destiny, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm here, front of the suit, and yay, I'm just like, what the hell, like, move and jump into the suit and just go. You're preparing for this for like ages. I found it really interesting that Burnham had to jump back in the past and create those signals in order to create the 7th signal for the future, and then we were able to guide Discovery through the wormhole and go into the future. Obviously, now that Discovery went into the future, Discovery is vanished, the battle with the Control and with Section 31 ended. It was a bit interesting seeing that interrogation scene. After the battle, obviously, it was really glorious to see the Enterprise, started with the space dock sequence. That was phenomenal. But having this interrogation, and with Captain Pike, Number 1, and Spock, it was really interesting. And that admiral just does not feel right to me. The one who was doing the interrogation, he was smiling a lot. He was questioning for other things. And we didn't even see his face properly, so I'm not sure if we're gonna get anything out from that guy or we're gonna see anything from him in the future, but it's really interesting to find out then what's gonna happen with that. Obviously in this episode we got to see quite a few people bashing out from the ship because of explosions and stuff. One big thing that we got to witness in this episode, and obviously it left Captain Pike in a big sorrow as well, is Admiral Cornwall, who actually sacrificed herself saving the ship of the Enterprise. I found that her sacrifice of the situation and the sacrifice for the Enterprise crew, it was really noble, and then she will be missed because she was kind of really good admiral in many ways in season 1 and 2. I think she was actually one of the best admirals so far in Star Trek Discovery. Obviously by the end of this episode we got to see the Enterprise crew getting together. Spock got rid of his beard, and then they marching and they starting their next 5-year mission, or the 5-year mission continues. And it was really interesting to see that Captain Pike's life and Spock's life is going into the way how it intended to be, and then the original timeline kind of restored. Alex Kurtzman said it a long time ago that by the end of this season everything will get back to its normal place. And obviously with Star Trek Discovery Season 1 and Season 2, what we had in problem is Discovery itself. We had a lot of issue with accepting that, hey, this ship and the spore drive and how the modified technology and how the advanced technology compared to the Enterprise going to make sense degrading towards the original series. Now that we know that Discovery is in the future, it basically got deleted in the current timeline, and all the Enterprise crew actually swore that they're never going to mention Discovery again. They don't know anything about it, and they actually pushed every details about how Discovery destroyed itself. And now that basically everyone lied about how Discovery vanished and what happened with Discovery, and they're not going to mention anything about Discovery anymore. It kind of makes sense, and the timeline can go and flow uninterruptedly. So whatever happens from this point on forward towards the original series, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, well, that was before, it will go into uninterrupted, so it will not change anything significantly in the future, which it shouldn't, because otherwise it will be an alternative timeline series. So it was really interesting to finally get to this conclusion, and obviously Discovery is in the future now, so probably Season 3 will continue on that they arrive in the future, in 950 years in the future, and then we're gonna pick up their life from there. After the finale, TREKKERPRISE released an interview with Alex Kurtzman. I will put the link in the description box below for you to read. It's a really interesting interview. He talks about Season 3 and talks about how things will change and what the crew will have to face with in Season 3. And obviously how it affects, how it doesn't affect anymore the normal timeline, the original timeline. So by them pushing Discovery forward to the future, basically will let them to create something new, something unexpected that we haven't seen before. So therefore, they will be free from canon, which is again a big thing that everyone talks about in the online society. Canon, and Discovery breaking canon here, Discovery breaking canon there, Discovery bending canon here. So now that all these arguments will be irrelevant because Discovery is in the future, we're not gonna see anything really familiar that we've seen in here, because 950 years, it's a lot. And imagine that, like from World War I, we actually got up halfway, we got up a Starfleet Federation, so a lot of things can change in that 950 years. So it's gonna be really interesting to see that brave new and brand new world finally, and a lot of people wanted Discovery to place in the future. Now we definitely got this. In Season 3 we're gonna see something really cool based on Alex Kurtzman's interview on TREKKER.com. Overall, I really enjoyed the last 2 episodes, more the part 2 than part 1, mainly because, in part 1 we got to see the Enterprise for the first time, that I really enjoyed, and obviously in part 2 we got to see the whole season concluded, and the whole mystery behind the Red Angel, the red signals. We got to see everyone uniting against Section 31, and then we got to see Spock. And I do have to say that much I love Spock, the character himself, I think in Discovery he looked better with a beard. First time when he stepped on the bridge without a beard, I almost freaked out, because like, whoa, you looked much better with a beard than without the beard. So yeah, so that's it. Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 13 and 14, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 1 and 2. It was a really interesting season. It was a really good season, much better than Season 1 obviously, and I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna come up with Season 3 in the distant future. So obviously this year, apparently we have a Picard series coming, sometimes around Christmas or some, based on the rumors, and we're probably gonna get to see short tracks in an animated form for the new animated series Lower Decks. So there's still plenty of things to look forward to in 2019 and obviously in 2020 as well. And then still we have a lot of things in development. So I'm really looking forward to read your thoughts and comments on this last episode in the comment section below. And I'm really looking forward to have a discussion with you guys in the next couple of days, talking about Star Trek Discovery, the finale, and obviously the whole season itself. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to receive all the geekiness every week. And until next time, live long and prosper.